This was a frightening, well-planned, targeted murder that was intended to cause shock and attention and intimidation. It occurred in one of the most bustling parts of our city, threatening the safety of local residents and tourists alike, commuters and business people just starting out on their day.
A crack tonight in the case that has gripped the nation. New York police found a backpack they believe belongs to the gunman who shot and killed UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Police say it was found during their search of Central Park, but still there is no sign of the shooter. Joe McCoy catches us up on all the developments today.
New details coming in by the hour on the murder of UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson.
We also have reason to believe that the person in question has left New York City.
Imagine walking through one of the busiest streets in New York City, where life moves at lightning speed, only to witness a cold-blooded act that halts everything. A top healthcare executive gunned down in broad daylight in what seems like a plot ripped straight out of a high-stakes crime thriller. But here's the kicker. This wasn't just any murder. It was calculated, brazen, and dripping with a motive that'll leave you questioning everything. Stay with me, because this story takes twists and turns you'll never see coming. So, let's unravel this shocking tale. The victim? Brian Thompson, the CEO of UnitedHealthcare. On the morning of December 4th, 2024, what began as a routine day for Brian turned into his final moments. Emerging from the Hilton Hotel in Midtown Manhattan, he had no idea someone had been waiting, stalking, and planning this for days.
Say a forensic match ties a murder suspect to the killing of UnitedHealthcare's CEO in New York last week.
Bradley Blackburn has more as this case continues to unfold.
Luigi Mangione, the alleged perpetrator, approached Brian from behind, wielding a 3D printed ghost gun equipped with a suppressor. In mere seconds, Brian was struck twice, once in the back and once in the leg. It was a hit executed with terrifying precision. And then, Mangione disappeared into the chaos of the city. But before we dive deeper into this assassin's escape and the chilling details of his capture, let's rewind to what brought him to this point. Authorities revealed that Luigi Mangione arrived in New York on November 24th, blending into the city's anonymity. He checked into a hostel under the alias Mark Rosario, using a fake New Jersey ID. For days, Mangione meticulously scoped out his target, strategizing his every move. But why Brian Thompson? Why this targeted act of violence? Here's where the story thickens. Brian Thompson wasn't just a corporate figure. He represented the pinnacle of the healthcare industry, an industry often under scrutiny. Social media erupted with speculations that this murder might have ties to activism, corporate backlash, or even revenge. Some extremists went as far as to glorify the act, calling it a strike against capitalism. People started sharing disturbing posters and even a deck of cards with other CEOs allegedly marked for assassination. The implications of this murder reached far beyond one man's life, shaking the very foundation of corporate America. Now, back to the day of the crime. After the shooting, Mangione fled the scene, initially on foot and then using an e-bike to travel uptown. He later hailed a taxi to the Upper West Side. Police pieced together his movements through surveillance footage, which captured him methodically evading capture. But Mangione's escape was short-lived. Days later, he was spotted at a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania, where his journey came to an abrupt end. A vigilant customer recognized him from the news and alerted the authorities. When arrested, Mangione was found with the murder weapon, ammunition, and the fake ID he'd used throughout his stay in New York.
New details this morning. Police say they have new information on how the man accused of killing UnitedHealthcare's CEO got out of New York.
Here's where the story takes an even darker turn. The weapon, the ghost gun Mangione used, isn't your typical firearm. These untraceable guns, made using 3D printers, are becoming an alarming trend in violent crimes. In 2023 alone, over 80 ghost guns were recovered in Manhattan, and the number continues to climb. Law enforcement is scrambling to address this growing threat, but as this case shows, the stakes are higher than ever.
Let me say a bit more about the charges. They include 1 count of murder in the first degree as a killing in furtherance of terrorism, 2 counts of murder in the second degree, 1 charging that the killing was done as an act of terrorism, and the second pertaining to the fact that the killing was intentional.
Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg and NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch wasted no time addressing the gravity of this crime. In a joint press conference, they laid out the charges against Mangione, which include murder in the first degree, murder in the second degree as an act of terrorism, and multiple counts of weapon possession. If convicted, Mangione faces life without parole. But beyond the legal ramifications, there's a bigger question looming. Was Mangione acting alone, or is there a broader network behind this heinous act? The investigation uncovered some unsettling details. Mangione's ties to activist groups, his meticulously planned attack, and the timing of the murder all point to something much larger than a lone wolf scenario.
How do you know him? What school did you guys go to? How long did you know him for?
So I knew him. I came into the school in 8th grade. I knew him 8th grade throughout high school. But I obviously knew him. We were a small class, small school, only about 400 kids in the high school, maybe like 85 to 100 in my class, so everybody knew everyone really.
Authorities are now exploring potential links to extremist organizations that have been vocal about targeting high-profile figures in the corporate world. And let's not forget the online frenzy that followed the murder. Posts praising Mangione's actions flooded social media, with some users even encouraging similar acts of violence. It's a chilling reminder of how easily hate and violence can spread in the digital age. As the legal proceedings unfold, the focus remains on securing justice for Brian Thompson and his family. But this case also highlights the urgent need to address the proliferation of ghost guns, the rise of extremist rhetoric, and the safety of public figures. Commissioner Tisch made it clear there is no heroism in what Mangione did. This was a senseless act of violence, a cold and calculated crime that stole a life and put New Yorkers at risk. So, what can we take away from this tragedy? First, it's a wake-up call for law enforcement, policymakers, and society as a whole. The accessibility of ghost guns and the growing influence of extremist ideologies pose a threat that can't be ignored. Second, it's a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the devastating consequences of unchecked hatred. As we await Mangione's trial, one thing is clear. This case has left an indelible mark on New York City and beyond. The murder of Brian Thompson wasn't just a crime. It was an attack on the principles of safety, justice, and humanity. And while the legal system works to hold Mangione accountable, the broader fight against violence and extremism continues. What do you think about this shocking case? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, stay safe and stay informed.